is meteorologist Mark Molnar with a special tropical weather bulletin. It's going to be a full tropical weather bulletin. This is mainly what I'm going to focus on this evening. Things have really changed with Hurricane Florence. Florence quickly last night became a Category 4 storm, but since then it has weakened. However, the upper level pattern has greatly changed during the next week or two. Here's what I have for you. Right now we have Florence. It's situated southeast of Bermuda or northeast of the Lesser Antilles. Storm is still packing a punch. This storm will fluctuate mostly between major hurricane and strong 110, 125, 135, 140 mile per hour winds. It will fluctuate in intensity, but nevertheless we're dealing with a very formidable hurricane here. The system was projected to move just a couple days ago and move just east of Bermuda and eventually head out to sea. That was assuming that there would be two high pressure systems, which I'll show you on the tropical upper air map next here. But that was assuming that there would be two high pressure systems here, one off the southeast coast and one near the Azores, which would allow Florence to find a weakness in the subtropical ridge between the two and find a quick exit. Things have changed. High pressure here over the Azores will quickly build to the west. We also have another high that's quickly building overhead to the north of the Florence, northeast of Bermuda, and we have another high off the eastern New England coast off of Cape Cod. This kind of spells a complicated scenario here in which you're going to want to stay tuned if you live in Bermuda or the US East Coast. Anywhere from the Carolinas, Virginia, Delmarva, New Jersey, New York City, Long Island, and the New England coast up to about Boston. You're going to want to keep an eye on this system because right now the trend in all or most models is to continue this system and bend it more towards the west, especially towards the weekend into the early next week when it will bend just south of Bermuda. How close it becomes to Bermuda will depend on how high pressures to the north here will continue to build and shift Florence to the west. Stronger highs to the west here mean a more westward or maybe even a more southwestward jaunt here for Florence. But right now, I'm going to keep Florence on this track. It will start to look like it'll head towards Bermuda, but as the high pressures build in, we'll just arc just south of the Bermuda Island here. It's going to be a close call, but you're going to want to stay tuned if you live in Bermuda. After about Monday or Tuesday next week, that puts the storm between Bermuda and the United States. Right now, we don't have any storm systems coming off of eastern North America to make this system arc out into the Atlantic and make a clean exit here. So, that being said, the jet stream's bottled up well up over northern Great Lakes and pretty much skips the northeast to New England. So, that being said, by about the time Tuesday, Wednesday next week, we're going to have a pretty strong storm here, whether it be Category 3, Category 4 storm here off of the coastline of either the southeast United States or even the mid-Atlantic or New England. So, you're going to want to stay tuned to this. After about days 5 and 6 here, models really start to diverge. We have some models recurving it out to sea, which would be good news. However, there are some models that are taking it into the mid-Atlantic, some up towards New England, and some actually building the high pressures and forcing the storm into the southeastern coast of the United States. So there's my intensity map right now and my cone of uncertainty. The cone of uncertainty, especially towards the end of the forecast period, really expands because right now we're not willing to make a call whether this storm will strike the United States or whether it will head out to sea. So I'm going to want you to stay tuned here at MeteoMark's Weather Northeastern. Now let's get right into the particulars here for what's affecting this storm. As I said, you got three high pressure systems here. One over the Azores, one that will be building just south of Newfoundland, and another high pressure system that will be forming here off of the New England coastline. And that will continue to push Florence in the direction of a more westward turn. As I said, the jet stream in the North American continent remains pretty much out of view here, keeping all of the storm systems for this time of year that would continue to push to the southeast well away from the US East Coast. This is why we're increasingly concerned about the US East Coast, particularly from the Carolinas, Virginia, Delmarva, New Jersey, up to New York City, Boston, Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island. All of these areas should be watching the storm very closely over the next several days. The rest of the tropics, however, your eyes are drawn to this Invest 92L system out here. Now, many of you are not going to like me for putting a cone of uncertainty for Invest 92L. However, many of the models bring this storm up to our next named storm. So, nevertheless, I'm going to put a cone of uncertainty for this storm, even though it's not an officially numbered or named storm. So there's what I'm looking at. I'm pretty confident this will become our next named storm out here in the Atlantic, and it should move in the direction of the Lesser Antilles. So by about days 5 and 6, if you live in the northern Lesser Antilles, you're going to want to keep an eye on this system. Right now, intensity forecasts are very complicated, so I'm going to continue to have a large cone of uncertainty here. So that'll pretty much do it for the tropics here. Let's get right into the forecast. Precipitation totals here across northern and central North America, especially the Great Lakes. We're dealing with moisture from what's left of Tropical Storm Gordon here in the Ohio Valley, portions of the Mississippi Valley, down into portions of Texas here. Most of the heaviest precipitation will be over the Ohio Valley. So, here's the pattern for North America. All of these low pressure systems, the long-term pattern, especially for next week, which is key to where Florence goes, keeps a ridge of high pressure over here in the eastern part of the United States. That keeps all the systems riding into eastern Canada. No systems to be seen to push Florence off the coast here, at least from what we can see at this time. So, that being said, let's take a look at the forecast. There's no severe weather to talk about, no heat waves. So let's get right into the forecast, starting off with your Friday. For the Northeast, we're looking much better. Frontal boundary shifts to the south. Sunny skies across much of New York, New England, and parts of the Great Lakes. And much lower humidity, temperatures falling through the 70s. Into your Saturday, across much of the Northeast, we're dealing with lots of 60s. Binghamton, Syracuse, Buffalo, Rochester, Albany, parts of northern Pennsylvania, not getting out of the 60s, but it'll be a nice sunny day. If you live south of the PA Turnpike in Pennsylvania, this is where we could get into a stray shower. But most of the area will be dry for your Saturday. And Sunday, moisture returns here in Pennsylvania. Clouds will be on the increase, but most of New York and Pennsylvania and parts of New England here, Susquehanna River Valley, especially the upper Susquehanna River Valley, remains dry. And then across much of the rest of the area, the Great Lakes, into your Sunday, we have clouds streaming across much of the northeast part of the country here. So into your Monday, we have rain, return rain here into the Ohio River Valley, into parts of the Susquehanna River Valley. We'll see this system from the Ohio Valley shift and produce lots of rainfall here across the Northeast. This is where a lot of the heavy rainfall in Pennsylvania, Interstate 80 on southward, and Binghamton, parts of the New York State Thruway will get on the act too. It will hold temperatures down well into the 60s as well. So heading on from Sunday to Monday, that's where we'll have a lot of the clouds and the rain. Take a look at the 5-day outlook. Your forecast for your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday here. Friday, we start to cool down, sunny into the 70s into Saturday. One of your nicest days, about 68. Sunny into your Sunday, cloudy, only getting up to about 64. And then for your Monday and Tuesday, rain likely. Temperatures holding down into the 60s. That'll do it. Don't forget to like me on Facebook at MeteoMark, subscribe me on YouTube at MeteoMark.com, and it's Twitter at WX Northeastern. That'll do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern.